just wants to massacre him.
Go on out there and kill them.
Wipe them out. All of them. To the very last man. Violence. Brutality.
Trick-or-treaters are all dead. Isn't it beautiful? Take a walk in the cemetery. Get eaten up by cannibals.
Celebrate Halloween. Love and kisses, Remy, baby.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Hey, Ballbusters, Bates here with your friend and mine, Ray Mungus, and we're ready to do whatever it takes on episode 56 of Way of Life Live. What's going on over there, man?
Not too much, man. Not too much. It's good to be back. Good to hear those familiar songs again after a little bit of a break. How are you?
Surviving for the moment.
Yeah, that's all we could do, really.
Yeah, it's been a rough few weeks.
Yeah, to say the least.
So, what has it been? It's been 2 weeks since our last episode. We took a bit of time off.
Yeah, I believe... When did Captain Marvel come out? I think that was our last episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, why were we gone 2 weeks? Well, normally we take a week off every once in a while because we just need the break. Sometimes there isn't news, and sometimes we're too busy napping on Wednesday nights, you know. But the last 2 weeks, we decided to kind of put the show aside for a little bit as we were dealing with a pretty big loss in both of our lives. I've talked about it on a couple of my streams, and we've been tweeting about it since it happened. But a few weeks ago, we lost a really good, really close friend of ours named Tom. If any of you guys listen to the MBH pre-recorded podcast that we have up on the channel, then you would definitely know his voice and know who he was. But he sadly passed away very suddenly a few weeks ago, and it kind of hit us pretty hard where we knew we just needed to take a little time away from the show.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an easy thing to hear because we lost his brother Chris 5 years ago. And, death comes suddenly in general. So, it's just one of those things where when you first get the news, it hits you like a rock. And in this particular case, it was one of those situations where, I had that instant numb feeling, but it was this weird case of deja vu that just just came and washed over me. And I don't know, it was one of those things where you just, you don't know what to say. You don't really have words. And for a show like this, we need plenty of those. So it's a situation where we needed to kind of unwind and recalculate or recalibrate everything, and deal with what just happened with us.
Yeah, it left us pretty numb for a while. I mean, it's still hitting us hard, almost on a daily basis, because we all would talk almost every day, and then now that's not there anymore. I can't open up our group chat expecting to see Tom ripping on somebody else in the group chat because they said something stupid, or Tom bitching about a dumbass move that the Jets made. I know I'm not going to see that anymore, but I still open up our chat expecting to see it.
Yeah, it's a little surreal, and I handle the group chat, like anything else. It's kind of like our own little social media thing. We haven't hung out. Tom and all of us, the NBA BH crew, kind of hung out quite a bit. Like we hung out a lot more than previous years. But the group chat kind of really took all of us out of our busy lives and kind of pulled us all together again, which is great. And we've known Tom for a long time. We've known him, like, I've got to be approaching like 20 years at this point, like very, very close to that at least.
Yeah. You're about 20. I'm probably about 15, 16.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. And the weird, it's funny that you mentioned the group chat, because I bring it up these days and I go to post a link in there that, I figure somebody will get a laugh at, during work and everything. And, I kind of look forward to that Tom response always. It's always some goofy thing that he responds to, or, like he twisted in such a unique way that nobody ever really thought of it, even though whatever I post in there was funny to begin with. So
yeah,
it's like when I go into the chat, it's so bizarre to not have that, even though like I'm expecting to have that. I'm looking forward to it, and it just kind of never comes. And I'm sure we're going to be dealing with this for quite a while. And when we get together to record the next episode of MBH, it's going to probably hit us significantly harder than it's has so far. But that hole in you, it leaves a real big gap in your life, and it's difficult to fill.
Yeah, it's a void right now, man. Especially knowing how much he had grown over the last few years and how much he's come out of his shell and was a completely different person from when we met him and from when we knew him from a decade plus. So seeing him, knowing that he's gone now after he went through such strides to just better himself, and I've said this a million times since he's passed, but I'll say it a million times more. It doesn't make it any easier. We don't know what happened. Some of us want to know, some of us don't want to know. As I said, it was very sudden. It was, it was weird. We sort of noticed that a couple days had gone by and he wasn't in chat. He wasn't responding to anything or yelling at somebody. And then Monday night, we got the news, and it hit us all. It wrecked us. And he apparently had gone peacefully, from what we're told, sometime on Saturday. And
Yeah.
we found out on Monday, and the rest is history at that point. So it's still an adjustment for us. As I said a few times before, it's really going to hit us hard. Definitely come football season. That I think that's going to be the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely. And like one thing that I've learned growing after his brother passed, it all comes in moments. It all comes in spurts. The severity of it varies. And it's going to hit you into like the most weird, bizarre times, like you seeing somebody walking down the street with a pair of sunglasses on was, that could trigger something, just because we used to bust his balls for wearing sunglasses outside during the day, during the nighttime, indoors. It didn't matter. So like something like that will obviously, bring some memories to the surface. And, it's just growing after the fact. That's a challenge, and it's something that all of us are going to have to face. And I think one thing that's important out of all this, and we've learned this with his brother passing, is that, we're only on this rock for so long, and we have to keep doing what we're doing and stay together, make sure our bond is unified and strong. And, I said this right after he passed, the MBH podcast, it may not be the most successful thing. It may not have the most listens. It may not have the most views, but we got together to do that as a tribute to his brother. And as a result, we are going to have lasting memories of Tom at his finest, might I add, because, even though it was a goofy little metal podcast with horror elements and this and that, he took that shit seriously. Like we were a professional radio crew. You know what I mean? Like, so we're going to see that growth in him by listening back to that. And I think going forward, we're going to always kind of remember those bonds that we shared during that time. And I hope that's going to strengthen the bonds that, the core group has in its current moment. So, it's a very, very tragic situation, but at the end of the day, we have lasting memories as a result.
Yeah. Not being able to get together with him anymore and record, it's, we had a lot of fun doing that. We have one episode left that has not been released. I'm not sure when it's going to be released. We may hold on to it for a while and maybe release it on the 1 year anniversary. Some of the stuff we'll be talking about will be outdated back by that point, but that's not the point. Anyway, it's just I think it'd be nice, a nice little tribute. The last thing we recorded together, released on the 1 year anniversary. So I don't know. I'll have to discuss it with the rest of our crew. It's not something we've even talked about yet. And what's going to happen with the show? Well, that it's not something we've really decided on yet. We've discussed it very briefly. We are planning on doing one more sort of tribute episode. That's not really going to follow the usual format, but it's something we want to do. And then moving forward, we've decided that we're going to sit down. We're all going to talk because this was always a group effort. And we've decided that we all have to be on the same page if we do continue the podcast. We all have to say yes. If one of us says no, then we're leaving it dead. Otherwise, we will continue it. I do hope to continue it. We started this podcast as a way to honor, Tom's brother, like Mungus said before. MBH, Metal Beer Horror, was a webzine and column that Tom's brother Chris had started on the internet many, many, many years ago. And we decided that, we wanted to continue that kind of legacy. And, podcast was just the next step, the next evolution in what MBH should become. And that's what we did. And we had so much fun doing it, whether or not people listening to it enjoyed it. We didn't really give a fuck because we enjoyed doing it. And, I feel like stopping it, it's kind of going against what we set out to do with it. So I will understand if the other members of the crew do not want to continue it. I will hold no, ill will and or hard feelings about it. Because, as I said, it's got to be, we all got to be on board or it's not happening. So hopefully in the coming weeks, we'll have some news on that. And, yeah. Yeah, that's I think that's about it, man. It gets hard to sit here and talk about him for too long without kind of getting choked up still.
Yeah, I was kind of dreading this, to be perfectly honest. It's really great to get back in the fold of things, but just that weight on your shoulders after a couple weeks of kind of unpacking everything and really letting it sit in. This is the moment that I just didn't want to really face, but all the same, we're here. We accomplished what we set out to accomplish, whatever that might have been, and it's a new day. Unfortunately, it's without our good friend, but it's all we could really say. We can move forward and keep going.
Yep. So to kind of stay on the subject of somberness, something that we seem to be doing every fucking episode. Time to get into the obituaries of actors, directors, horror legends that have passed away. And we got hit pretty hard in the last 2 weeks. First up being John Carl Buechler. You may not recognize the name, but if you've seen Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, then you've seen his work. He directed that, amongst other films, including the original Troll and a few other choice flicks. The Maniac Cop flicks. No, wait, that was another one. Never mind. That was Larry Cohen, who also died,
Yep.
but we'll get into that in a second. But John Carl Buechler, he was like a special effects god. He was part of so many movies, and his team created so many amazing things. We sadly lost him a couple weeks ago at the age of 66. Followed closely by the great Larry Cohen. I mean, when it comes to B movie horror legends, he's right up there. Personal favorite of mine being The Stuff. You get fucking who doesn't love The Stuff, and It's Alive. It's guy was just amazing. He had such an eye for just schlocky garbage and spun it into gold.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the writing that he did on Maniac Cop alone was worth the price of admission. The thing that I loved about Larry Cohen, though, is the fact that he didn't pull any punches when it came to talking honestly and openly about the industry. Like he didn't sugarcoat it. He came from a very different era, so maybe that's where the honesty lied. But when it came to talking about Hollywood and how difficult it is to get into the business, that man, he didn't want you in it. He didn't want you taking his jobs, and he recognized how difficult it was for him alone to get in when he did. He also did a lot of blaxploitation movies that I really dug. To transition off of what I was just saying, he put Fred Williamson in a few movies, and if you know me, you know that I'm a huge fan of Fred Williamson. I met him, have his business card.
Got his business card. I was about to just say that.
Yeah. So, it's really he was truly a staple of that era. And to really go back very quickly on John Carl Buechler, or Buechler rather. God, he is such a not only is he a great special effects legend, but Adam Green recently told the story about them freaking out. He did the special effects for Hatchet. Let me backtrack for that. But Adam Green and the direct, the producers of Hatchet and everything were all freaking out on the set of Hatchet when rain basically came in. A big storm came in New Orleans. What a shock. And they're all freaking out, figuring out how they can match up the set, the shots from the previous night with no rain. And, John came over to him. I don't want to call him by his first name, but, he came over to them and was like, what's the problem? Why the hell are you guys, going crazy like this? And they started running down all the problems with the production and how it's going to be shit. And he goes, hey, just shoot it. They'll never notice. And they did. They took the advice. He just had this nonchalant attitude, like, hey, this is how it goes. This is how the business is. You know, just do it. You did your best with it. And, you know, after a night of shooting, you know, if you watch the movie, you never have noticed, like, to begin with, whether or not, you know, the scene was truly messed up or not. Like that nonchalant attitude is something that often directors don't have going into Hollywood. So to see such a, like, consummate professional with that laid back of an you know, attitude, you know, it's very unique. He's definitely old school Hollywood. So you know, I just thought it was a cool little story to tell. But go on.
Well, sadly, we lost him, age 77. You know, it's a big blow to the horror world. And last, certainly not least, and I think the one who might hurt me the most, simply because we shared one of our fondest memories with this particular actor. You know, he wasn't really known for too many roles, but the one role he was remembered and known for was probably one of the finest pieces of acting you'll ever see in a, you know, great horror movie, and that's Joseph Pilato, otherwise known as Rhodes from Day of the Dead. And you know, anyone who knows me knows I absolutely adore Day of the Dead 1985. It is one of my, if not my all-time favorite horror film. I love everything about that film, and he is, like, one of the main reasons why I love that film. You watch it, and you watch his portrayal, and it's almost like, why is he overacting so much? And then you're just looking at him like, well, I don't really think he's overacting. I think he's nailing it pretty good. You know, it might take you a viewing or two before you actually see the way I see it, but his delivery and with every line in that movie, it's just insanity. Just pure insanity. He has some of the best rants in that movie. Some of the best monologues. When he pulls a gun at his on the crew, you know, during one of the mess hall scenes, it's one of the best scenes I've ever. Or when he's yelling at Frankenstein, or just, he commanded that entire movie, and I can't imagine that movie without him. You know, we had the pleasure of sort of meeting him at a convention once. You know, this was many years ago, sort of a little bit before I had grown to appreciate Day of the Dead as much as I do now. You know, I had known who he was, and I knew the movie, and I liked the movie, but not to the level that I love it now. And you know, we just happened to be walking by his table at the right moment, and you know, we've shared the story before, so I'm not going to really get into it, but it was a really great memory that Mungus and I got to share together with Joseph Pilato and Steele, another character from Day of the Dead who happened to be there. It was, again, you know, it was just one of those, we were in the right place at the right time for a good memory. So losing, you know, Pilato, I'd always hoped to see him at another convention. I wanted to really meet him again and get his autograph, get a picture with him. I had been lobbying Dave at Monster Mania for a Day of the Dead reunion for years, and it just never materialized. And now at this point, it doesn't feel right, you know, knowing that I won't get the chance to meet him. So, you know, passed away at 70. Definitely the biggest blow out of the three to me personally. You know, he may not have had the biggest impact on the horror world, but he had the biggest impact on me as a horror fan.
Wow. I gotta follow that. No, but he, you know, it's one of those things, like you said, we always kind of wanted the chance to be able to meet him again, you know, have that opportunity to kind of have like that one-on-one. He's, the thing that I loved about him at the convention was how larger than life he was, how if you walked into the autograph room where he was at any given moment, his voice was the one booming over the entire room. Like he wasn't like yelling at people or anything. Actually, he was.
No, he was yelling at people. Don't fucking sugarcoat it. A motherfucker was yelling at everybody in the room.
Not yelling in the typical sense of like screaming at somebody in anger, but just he was playing up that vibe of Rhodes to a T, and you could tell that it was some fan service there. It was a way to really give fans a kind of a memorable, meet with the guy, or oh, that's just Joe Pilato over there in the friggin' at his table going crazy.
He was pretty much like the Don Rickles of fucking horror conventions, man. If you walk past his table, you were gonna get ripped on for something.
Absolutely.
That's just who he was. He was seriously like that's the best way to describe it. He was like the Don Rickles. He wasn't malicious in any or with any of the intent. He was just trying to have fun and just loved ragging on people or just trying to get a rise out of somebody.
Yeah, without a doubt. But it was always in good fun. That's the thing that I loved. Yep. The panel was really great with him. His interactions with Gary Clark, aka Steele, were priceless. Both at the table and in the panel. It's just the thing that I'm regretting is the fact that he's never really had a heyday since then. And if you're familiar with like the comic book company Ibon Press, they recently, not so recently, but within the last year, put out a comic book by the name of Bottom Feeder. And over the years, they kind of linked up with Joe Pilato. And originally, the concept of Bottom Feeder was a script. They were trying to get made for kind of his return, like one of those horror movie, those horror monster movie type deals. But unfortunately, they went a long time before anything really was, before nothing transpired. And they took the loss as an incentive to try to do something else with it. And what they ended up doing was using Joe Pilato's likeness and went on to create a 3 comic book issue series of the script that was written for Pilato's comeback. So I just wanted to give those guys a shout out because the comic book's awesome. Seeing Joe Pilato in his absolute best in comic book form, like you can almost hear his voice while you're reading his lines off the page. It was purely written for him to play, and it's absolutely something that any fan of his should really check out. So hit up Ibon Press, I think it's .com, Google it, and pick up the 3 issues of Bottom Feeder, which are on sale now.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I didn't even know about that. But, yeah, so those are the horror icons that we have lost in the last 2 weeks. Hopefully Death kind of hangs up his scythe for a little while.
It's been exhausting. Like, I'm done with it. Like, let us live a little bit.
Yeah. Hang it up for a few months. All right, dude? I'm done. No more bad news for a little while, please.
We beg of you.
So before we jump into horror news, we have some other type, of horror news. I guess it could kind of be like its own segment, be like convention news. So this coming up weekend is NJ HorrorCon. I think it's the second or third one? Third one, right?
I want to say third one, yeah.
So I've never been to one. Mungus has been to one, and he rather enjoyed it. It's not as big as Chiller Theater or Monster Mania, so crowds really shouldn't be an issue. And as of right now, I do have the option to go down for the weekend. I am pretty much leaning towards going. I'm just making sure a few other things line up first before I commit to going down Friday and Saturday. But it should be pretty cool. If I do go, I'm going to try to get footage to, obviously post up on the channel, some panels and just con footage in general. And, we'll see how it is. I've never been there, but I've heard good things. It looks like it should be pretty cool. And as long as there's some good vendors, I'll be happy. I'm a vendor guy, man. I love good vendors. But, some shows just don't have them. Other shows have an abundance of them. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. The thing that excites me the most, like I've never been big on these photo ops and everything like that. So, I had one before, I had one or two before. But recently they started to kind of make these things interesting at certain conventions. This particular convention, you could take a picture with the cast of Back to the Future in front of a DeLorean. You could do what I'm doing and take a picture with Ernie Hudson in a flight suit in front of Ecto 1, which is pretty great. And another one that I'm doing is we're going to take some Christmas photos in March with the cast of Gremlins, in front of a Christmas tree and Gizmo and everything. Like, it just seems perfect. That might be my Christmas card next year. I just have to Photoshop our good buddy Twisted Tea out of it. But that's besides the point. I'm really looking forward to the photo aspects of it, and obviously just kind of like getting out there after these last couple weeks and taking a little bit of a break from all of the headaches. I just want to wander the convention, check out some panels, meet a couple people, and just try to have a good time.
Yeah, I don't think there was really anyone on the guest list I needed to meet. I mean, I'm a big fan of Leah Thompson. I love Leah Thompson. Do I have to meet her? No, I don't have to meet her. Looking at the rest of the cast, I mean, Chris Jericho, that'd be pretty cool. Big Chris Jericho fan. It's funny, Shannon Elizabeth, the chick from fucking American Pie. I saw a girl at the produce market the other day, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at her because she was gorgeous, and I'm like, who the fuck does this chick remind me of? And I'm like, oh my god, it finally hit me as I'm walking in my car. It looks like fucking Nadia from American Pie. And, she's going to be at the convention. I'm like, that's just awkward. But, yeah, God, I'm still thinking about that chick. She was beautiful. Yeah, Ghostbusters reunion. I don't even know who the fuck Jennifer Runyon is. Oh, no, yes, I do. Yes, I do. She was the psychic chick that Bill Murray was interviewing in the first one. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking at her face, and I could see it. And then Timothy Carhart, who I like him in other things he's in. I don't, his character from Ghostbusters wasn't really super memorable in my opinion.
I agree. I'm a diehard Ghostbuster fan, and that was, it was just like a blink and you missed the guy.
David Howard Thornton, a guy who plays Art the Clown from Terrifier. I actually really, really dug that movie, and I wouldn't mind just running into him, talking to him, telling him I'm actually a fan of the movie. I had a couple problems with it, but overall, I really, really enjoyed it. The new actor who plays Leprechaun, who played Leprechaun in Leprechaun Returns, which wasn't the worst movie, but they could have done a couple things a little differently. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No, not yet.
Fucking Kincaid's gonna be there. Yeah, great. Linnea Quigley, who's always a absolute fucking sweetie.
That's right. I'm doing the Night of the Demons photo up as well.
Jesus Christ!
I know you are too. If you go, by the way,
well,
if you're interested, we have a second ticket for that.
Oh, that's good to know. Joe Bob Briggs, that's. We've always kind of wanted to meet him. We went to a live event that he introduced. Never didn't get a chance to meet him though. Felissa Rose, who's always again another sweetheart. And a couple other pretty cool people. Again, not anyone I desperately want to meet. Jake the Snake Roberts. He might be one person I would really like to meet because I'd like to just shake his hand and tell him that I'm proud of him.
Absolutely worth it. He's such a class act, and I don't know where he's from, but like he has New Jersey sentiments written all over him. Like he would get along with us very, very well. The only people that I'm really like excited to meet would be I really want to meet Joe Bob Briggs. That's a given. And for so many years I've been putting off Ernie Hudson, and it's time. It's time.
Yeah. But definitely, I would definitely like to meet Jake, and as I said, shake his hand, tell him I'm proud of him, just for the shit he has finally seemingly overcome in his life. So many goddamn demons. So we will keep you updated on what is going on, for us this weekend. And finally, in convention news, so guests have started being announced for Monster Mania number 43. Now, I already have a room. We have a room. Thankfully, I booked this one fucking early because as far as I know, it's already sold out. We will be getting tickets as soon as we can. And this one is going to be this one's going to be crowded. This one's going to be very crowded. Dave, again, is pulling out the stops, and while it's really cool, we've kind of learned that, when you get so many big-name guests at one convention, it could really turn into a shit show. So hopefully they are still continuing to tweak their system to kind of avoid past issues. But just to kind of give you an idea on what to expect, Clive Barker has been announced. Now, he is not known for his... he doesn't have a very good track record when it comes to showing up to these things. So anyone's guess what's going to happen there.
Yeah, but that's usually because his health is on, it's up and down. So it is what it is when he cancels. Like people know to brace for that just in case.
Robert Englund, a con veteran for Monster Mania, but who always draws massive crowds, absolute massive crowds. We got Ryan Hurst, who I'm a big fan of. I love the Bates Motel TV series, and he played my favorite character in that series. So I may have to, go ahead and get an autograph from him. I usually don't get too many autographs because I'm not made of fucking money, man. Paying somebody, $40, $50, $60, $70, and all they're doing, $60. Oh, fuck. Okay. So, but he might be one I actually splurged for. Nick Frost. Everybody knows who Nick Frost is.
And that's one that I'm splurging for.
Definitely.
Absolutely, one of my favorite movies.
Devon Sawa, Final Destination fame, but I love him in Idle Hands. Idle Hands, one of my favorite movies. Absolutely love that flick. There's just so many good things about it, and no bad things about it. That is just a fun film to watch. Fuck, we should fucking bring that down to Monster Mania. We should watch Idle Hands at Monster Mania. That is such a great movie.
Hey man, I'm down with that. I just recently, and by recent, within the last couple of years, seen it for the first time on your recommendation, and man, I didn't know what I was missing. It's such a fun movie, even after all these years.
And we also got Doug Bradley and the rest of the Chenobites. That is, with Clive Barker being there, that is pretty massive. But probably my favorite guest that they have announced, who I was geeking out over, I still am. I don't know what I'm going to have him sign because I will be meeting him. But he's one of my favorite actors, character actors, just all around just amazing career. Legendary James Hong, who, if you guys have ever seen Big Trouble in Little China or Wayne's World 2, or if he's got a really quick but amazing scene in Andrew Bergman's The In-Laws from 1979. Andrew Bergman wrote Blazing Saddles. But this guy has had a massive, very long acting career, and when it comes to, Asian actors, I do believe he's from Hong Kong. He's one of the top actors, and hell, he even played Ming-Na Wen's fucking father in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's right.
So, he played the father of another one of my favorite Asian actors and actresses. So, it's really cool that I'm finally going to get a chance to meet him. I've always wanted to. He's supposed to be just really nice and just very humble. He loves his fans, from what I've heard. So this one really has got me going, and I'm glad we have the room already. You know, all we gotta do is buy our advance tickets because they will sell out. And yeah, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. And the best part about this convention is that as of right now, it looks like everything's going well. That our friend from Sweden, my buddy Stefan, is actually going to be coming and staying with me for a week, and he will be joining us. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be wild. You know, just I love that. I love that everything is lining up perfectly for the convention, and on top of everything, we're importing a co-host to our commentary, as well as a good friend from a foreign country to join us for the weekend. You know, like we've had some pretty memorable situations happen at these conventions over the years, but we've never imported somebody to hang out with. Okay, I think that's pretty excellent.
Yeah, and we are urging him. Well, he doesn't have a choice. I'll deport his ass back to Sweden. He's required to bring Swedish beer. So that's
simple task. I think he can manage that, or else he sleeps outside of the room. He'll be in the hallway all weekend.
Well, his ass is probably gonna be on the floor anyway. But
you know what, man? I think that's a great idea. I'm gonna put my foot down now. I'm getting a bed for once. Fuck that chair.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, you could have a bed. I mean, you might have to. I mean, Twisted Tea might be fucking snuggling up next to you, but.
Oh no, he's sleeping outside the hotel room too.
All right, so that's it for convention news. But let's go ahead.
Is it time to start the show?
I think it's time to start the meat and potatoes of the show. And at this point, we're gonna have to run through some of these, so we're not nearing 2.5 hours on tonight's episode. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into some horror news here.
It's all horror fiction, still the screen addiction. Cinematic gore and murder, it's horror fiction, not a fact prediction. Movies cannot make you a killer, it's all horror fiction.
Alright. Gotta adjust that volume. That was a little loud in my ear. Okay. Let's see. Where is my show notes here? Oh, there they are.
Always prepared.
Yeah, they ran away from me. What can I say? So there's a pretty cool event coming up. I believe it's in April, right? April?
I thought it was tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? I don't fucking know.
It's tomorrow.
I can't keep track of all this shit. Are you sure?
Positive.
I'm reading it now.
This Thursday.
Oh, well, yeah, it says this Thursday. I'm looking for a goddamn date. Your brother needs to learn how to write. Put goddamn dates.
Speaking of Twisted Tea.
So, pretty cool event. Tim Curry to answer fan questions and discuss his career in a kind of Ask Me Anything online event. I believe it's going to cost $3 to attend the event. And it's being promoted and sponsored and kind of run by Fanmio, who I'm not really familiar with.
Yeah, they seem to be a new company that just launched. I was like their 9th subscriber on YouTube, which was a little weird. But talk about hitting it out the gate, because, you know, one doesn't launch a company that sponsors like these weird little Q&A events at somebody's house with Tim Curry. You just don't. You don't come out the gate that way. So it's a very strong presentation and a great step forward for a relatively new company. At least that's what I think it is. You know, it's Tim Curry. How do you go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. But, you know, as I've been saying this for quite a while now, he's been getting better and better since his stroke. He's been, doing a bit more interviews, talking a lot more. He's, I think he's just trying to live the rest of his life the best way he can. And I think talking about his career and seeing fans and doing all this type of stuff, I think it's doing wonders for him and really perking him up and brightening his spirits and getting him back into the best health he can possibly be in at this point. So it's really cool that this event is happening, and I've probed Frank and Gilbert about, maybe trying to get him as a guest for the show. I think he would be an amazing guest for the podcast. And, between, his work in horror and the 80s movies he was in, and, the comedies he's done like Clue and stuff, they would have hours worth of content. I don't know. I just think this is cool. Tim Curry is such a cult icon. Whether you're a fan of it or just a fan of the rest of his work, which is just fantastic. There's nothing bad. He's never done anything bad. The man is just a genius, no matter what he's doing. Doesn't matter the genre. Guy was just super versatile. He might have been like the most versatile actor of our generation. And for fans to get this type of access right from their homes to ask him a personal question, that's, I don't know. I think that's pretty baller.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. His body of work is insane. Like, he's got well over 200 acting credits to his name, and some of them might be minor, some of them might be huge. Like, I don't know, Clue, Legend, Rocky Horror, Pennywise, all that good stuff. But shit, man, like, forget an interview online, forget a Gilbert appearance. Like, this man must have stories and stories and stories to go off of, that he could probably have his own podcast for years to come and have interesting things to talk about on a weekly basis. But that's me kind of like fan. That's the fanboy in me coming out, and it's just, I'm just glad that we're getting something, and I'm glad that he's well enough to do it. And you could tell in recent appearances, as well as the little trailer that they put up online, he's in good spirits and he's ready to talk about these things, which is pretty excellent. And for $3, come on. So yeah, definitely check out the event. I put the link in the chat right now, but otherwise, if you're listening to this within the next day or so, you can listen to it on demand, I'm sure. Check out fanmio.com, FANMIO.com, I think it is. And buy that Tim Curry thing. Like, they're not even sponsoring it. It just, you can't go wrong with a Tim Curry interview.
So moving on, Jordan Peele's Us finally, got released, and I don't think anyone was expecting this movie to do bad, because it didn't. It overtook Captain Marvel at the box office and jumped away with a beautiful $71 million opening weekend, which is pretty much twice as much as Get Out made in its opening weekend. The movie is getting rave reviews. I had seen a couple of reviews that had a few people had, I think, an issue or two with the ending. I have not had a chance to see it yet. I will be seeing it. And yeah, what he's doing for the horror genre is just, he's helping bring horror to a more, I don't know if I want to say sophisticated level, because that's not the right wording, but he's bringing it more into a spotlight that it always should have been in. He's getting a lot of publicity and a lot of press, and it's doing nothing but good things for horror in general.
I agree with you on that, and I think you were right in saying sophisticated, simply because, for the last, I want to say 20 years, we had films that had, messages. We've had a lot of different types of horror movies that kind of spoke to different types of people. But I think Jordan Peele's bringing horror back to the days where social commentary, was, I guess, woven into the fabric of the actual narrative. And, you can look at the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies and the Ghost movies, and pretty much everything like that over the last 20 years. And horror hasn't been in that sort of light. And I think he's really taking it there. And, I guess the best thing to come out of that is it's going to challenge future filmmakers with something to say and make them come out and say it, as opposed to just churning out the same old story with no real talking points. And I think that's a real beneficial situation.
Yeah, so I mean, it's great to see it doing so well at the box office, and you know, and he's obviously he's doing interviews and talking all this and talking all that, and you know, giving little hints and tidbits about you know where he's going in the future with his movies, and that is sort of going to lead us into a surprise pressure rising segment, something we haven't done in a while here.
It sickens me to watch you. All I ever do is cry and do my best to kill you because all of you must die. And although I created you, I have always hated you. Fuck this place.
So, Jordan Peele had kind of got something taken a little bit out of context.
Just a teeny bit. And there's a lot of people with a certain shade of skin color angry about this little thing he said.
All right. Yeah. So pretty much at the end of the day, he said something along the lines of, you know, I will never be casting a white male as a lead in one of my movies. We've already seen that movie. Now, before I even read the article, I read the line, and as a white male, I said, that's cool. Like, I knew immediately people were going to be super offended. But, you know, my skin pretty thick, and I'm pretty, you know, aware of where we are in the world, and pretty aware of, you know, how white males are everywhere. And, you know, I get that. It's like, I'm not going to sit there and argue with it. It's not untrue. Have we seen that movie before? Yeah, we have. But, I mean, have we seen movies with black, you know, male black actors in the leads? Of course. But, obviously, not as much. They're not as prominent. So, you know, it's just him just saying what, you know, this is him. He's a filmmaker. That's his vision for the future of his films. That's where he wants to go. Does it make him racist or anything? No. He's got the balls to come out and say it. You know, not like some other filmmakers who I'm not going to name because I hate them. But it's very, you know, you watch some of those other filmmakers' movies and it's very prominent, you know, what they're trying to say in their movies, you know, but he's kind of found his groove, and, you know, with 2 movies now, why fuck with that groove? Let him do what he wants to do. He's the filmmaker, you're not. You may not like what he had to say, but guess what? You don't have to fucking give him money and go see his movie. Get over it. You know, and these are the same fucking people. I'm not even arguing with these people online. I've learned my lesson. Because these are the same fucking people who had the problem when Brie Larson said, you know, something very similar about white males, you know, a month or so ago. Fucking, like, I don't know why these people feel so entitled and they're just so thin-skinned that they can't handle this shit. Like, fucking 2019, man. Grow up. Deal with it.
It's simply because of this, and it's one of the points that I was going to make when I jumped on the mic here. It's a matter of people looking at situations of inclusion as less for me, more for you, and it should never be looked at it like that. Simply because, you know, it's an equal part. It's just adding an element that might not have been present in other films, you know, or in other narratives. And it's taking an opportunity and giving it to somebody that might not have had it to begin with. And it's not a charity sort of situation. It is bringing in a culture that doesn't necessarily have that sort of I don't want to say opportunity, but like there's no denying that there is a less amount of these types of movies out there, and to sit there and have this opportunity where a company is giving you $20 million. I'm going to quote Jordan Peele here in this, and he goes, "The way I look at it, I get to cast a black people in my movies, and I feel fortunate to be in this position where I say to Universal, I want to make a $20 million horror movie with a black family, and they say yes." It's no more than that. It is as simple as that, and people are looking at it as not being included and kind of getting a taste of what it feels like on the opposite end of the coin. And it's not one of those weird situations where it is just us or them or vice versa. It is just a different type of actor getting a different type of opportunity. And I don't understand why people have to be so up in arms about it, but that's here nor there. Why am I pissed? For the simple fact that the Hollywood Reporter, I want to say the Hollywood Reporter is the company that conducted this interview. The foot that they went out on, at the very start when they brought this whole thing up, was they quoted, let me get the exact quote here. They quoted, "I don't see myself casting a white dude as a lead in my movie," end quote. That was the little social media blurb that they went forward on when they released this article, and they knew that it was going to trigger a whole lot of people. They knew it was going to usher in this weird, hateful debate, and they went forward with this without giving full context to what he's saying. And if you've ever seen an episode of Key and Peele or heard the man talk, he's like the least militant person ever. He's just like a random stoner that's making horror movies. like to see that little quote and see it as, "I don't see myself casting a white dude in my movie," and reading it to yourself like that, it's completely idiotic. And it's also extremely irresponsible from the Hollywood Reporter's perspective. Like, honestly, like, to go forward and just do something like, I want to just keep saying irresponsible, because that's exactly what it is. It's causing a whole lot of fuss over nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, it's really setting him back. I don't think he's not going to get opportunities out of this, but it's going to kind of like divide the audience. It's going to continue to divide the races, and it's going to make certain people not want to go and see it because they think that he's this person that he's not. And if you read the quotes, you hear him talk, it is just so far from that. And to even just read this quote and then go on some fucking ridiculous rant on your blog or Twitter account without really reading the entire thing in context and maybe having a rational fucking thought for once in your life, and saying, "Oh, maybe he isn't angry like everybody in the fucking world." Try that sometime. It might be better. It might give you a little bit of a less of a heart attack, and whatever you're trying to do. But the whole point of this is, it's fucking ridiculous that a professional company like that went out that way, and it's causing all this further divide. And that's the least thing that we need in this country right now, is more division amongst people, amongst a fucking species. And that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, it's weird, because usually I'm the one handling, the pressure rising, because I'm, I don't know, naturally fucking angry at pretty much everyone and everything. Because it's just the fucking world we live in, where everybody's offended by everything. Everybody sees something and they don't like what it says or what they see, and then they fucking got to start a crusade against it. Just fucking deal with it, man. Fucking deal with it. I guess you could say the same thing for me, because I get angry at these people who are getting angry over nothing. But listen, somebody's got to try to put these people back in their place. Like, you can't let them sit up on this fucking high horse, because they're just gonna keep doing it. And you know what? If you're gonna be that fucking thin-skinned, get off the fucking internet. Move to North Sentinel Island. All right, go make friends with the fucking natives over there.
Sentinelese. but you know what? I don't even think it's a matter of thin skin. I think it's a matter of running with half-baked ideas and just calling them fact. You know, I think it's just this massive level of ignorance. It's a headline reading society that reads only partial bit of the headline and then reacts to it as if like it's a crusade worth fighting for. When usually, if you read the 2 sentences further, you could avoid that entire fucking frustration. And we're getting to that point where people just say something. They just say something, and it is automatically deemed fact. You know, and I fucking hate that. You know, whether it be as high as the president or a fucking person on the street saying, oh, you know, what they're doing, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's just half-baked ideas and opinions, and people are just going crazy over them. And I think ignorance is taking over the society, and more so than ever, like the film Idiocracy is just slowly becoming a reality. And that's on all fronts. Right now, right here, we're a movie. We discuss movies. So to see it seep into an industry where we escape from all that bullshit, it's just like, come on, just go to the fucking movies and enjoy yourself. You know, stop trying to fucking make it a thing. Stop trying to fucking believe everything you read or don't understand, or try to think for once. And I think that's the biggest fucking issue here. People are just keeping their brains on autopilot and refusing to fucking think for themselves. They just want to yell into the wind at something, and it's getting fucking exhausting.
Yeah, it seems like at least once a month we're dealing with, you know, a situation like this, and it's just like, you know, you and me, we brush it off. It's like, oh, okay, all right, I kind of see what they mean, where they're coming from, and then everybody else just screeching, just nothing but screeching. And
perfect word for it.
You know, we still got a lot to cover. We're already an hour in. Fucking done with these people. We're going to move on. Fuck, you know, and just one more big old fuck you to anyone who got offended from what he said. As a white male, again, having to say this, as a white male, I'm not offended by it. I understand it. I get what he's trying to say. I get where he's coming from. I'm okay with it. Fuck you if you're not. And you know what? If you're not, that's on you. Keep it to yourself, I think. And just don't go see his movies. All right.
Exactly. Vote with your dollar. If it's that much of a thing that's working you up, vote with your dollar. I don't want to fucking hear it otherwise.
Or one last thing before we get off this. Or I can understand if you don't like what he said. There are ways to voice your opinion that doesn't make you come off like a fucking meandering pleb. All right. You don't like what he said. Okay, that's fine. I get that. I can sort of understand that. Even if you read the article straight through and you understand where it's coming from, if you still don't like what he said, that is fine. That is well within your opinion, you know, which you're, again, 100% allowed to have. But there is a way to voice your opinion in an intelligent way, and there's a way to voice your opinion in just a fucking, like, chaotic, nonsensical way. So kind of keep that in mind too. You want to go against the grain, you don't like what he said, that's cool. Fucking say it the right way. Be intelligent about it. Just don't be a screeching asshole. It just comes off like a fucking uneducated pleb.
And look at the bright side. If you really don't want to watch his movies, you could always go watch Michael Bay movies. Or, Michael Bay. Yeah, have fun with it.
Anyway. So we got a Stranger Things Season 3 trailer. I watched it 3 times. I don't know. Maybe the show is starting to run its course with me. It didn't get me excited in the least. I mean, I'm going to watch the season. But, it's there was no hype build up for me on that one.
You are, without a doubt, fucking insane. I watched the trailer quite a bit, and maybe it's a song that does it for me. I know Teenage Wasteland is one of the most overplayed songs ever.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. But my God, does it gift wrap that entire trailer in such a beautiful way. And I want to give credit to the sound designer as well as editor, because, you know, like, even having watched the trailer a handful of times and watching it right before the episode tonight, I still got those, like, that feeling, you know, like, it reminded me of times growing up. Like, we listened to a lot of that music growing up in the 90s. And I don't know, like, I see myself in that sort of story. I've been in those scenarios, minus, the upside down and the Demogorgon. But, it is the ultimate tribute to childhood and, growing up. And I don't know, like 3 seasons in, that trailer really does it for me. And it's bringing me to a level where I found myself in, as we all do.
Yeah, did I hate the trailer? No, it just didn't really get me too excited. I don't know. Again, it's very possible that the show is running its course for me. I really liked season 2. 'Cause I love Sean Astin's character, but we're not getting him this season for obvious reasons. So I have high hopes. I think it'll be good, but it's just this trailer didn't hit it out of the park for me. So nothing against it.
I will say this really quick. I think you were the same way with the promotional material for season 2 as well. But I think you just need the season to really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. But so yeah, if you guys haven't checked out that trailer, go check it out. Let us know what you think. If you like it, that's cool. It seems most people do, but most people are really excited and super hyped for the show. Maybe you fall in my gray area of not really caring much for it. But again, that doesn't mean anything. The season could still be great. You still got all the kids are back, and they're just fantastic to watch. They're just a lot of fun to watch on screen. So still looking forward to it, but the trailer did nothing for me. So we got some more news on Candyman, on the Candyman reboot. And I'm going to try this again. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. I think I did that good.
I think so. I think you nailed it this time.
Is apparently not replacing Tony Todd. And now the theories and discussions are running rampant. Well, who is he playing? Is Tony Todd coming back? Well, what's going on? We don't really have an answer.
We have theories, though.
Yeah, there's plenty of theories. We could talk about theories on it all night. But, it's just a cool little tidbit of news in case anyone didn't hear that. So, yeah. Obviously not playing the Candyman. So who is he playing, and who is playing Candyman?
I think the director is being very, very close to the chest.
No, he's being an asshole about it.
he's being very coy. My personal theory is he might become Candyman by the film's end. I think that might be interesting if it's kind of like a passing of the torch sort of deal. And I only say that because he's, in the quote he's saying, but he's not replacing Tony Todd. That's been reported, and I was just like, I don't know what to say about that. This is not right. If you don't know what to say about it, it's you have to dance around, the story without spoiling anything. I don't know. To me, it kind of leads towards, well, maybe that's a huge element of the story that's, going to be revealed. And maybe a twist that we're not really expecting. So fingers crossed that we might see Tony Todd on screen again. How great would that be?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And I know fans would definitely love it. So something to, think about. You never know what might happen here. So, yeah. All right, so I think that's about it. We got some geek news and updates to cover. So let's go ahead. Well, let's get into that. So Captain Marvel made a little money, a little scratch.
Just a little bit.
A little pocket money. Last I checked, it was, last I checked was like 2 days ago, and it was at 911 million.
We are almost up to 919 million worldwide, with a domestic take of 328-ish million.
So yeah, made a little money, a little bit.
Yeah, you know, they might be able to afford some candy and a pop.
But you know, it looks like in the end, I got to give it up to them. Got to give them their due. Trolls, you won. You won. You beat the movie, man. You only got it to make over 900 million in 2 weeks, and it's you did it. You did. I don't know how you guys did it, but you did it. You defeated Captain Marvel somehow. I mean, 900 million in 2 weeks. It's pitiful. Fucking pitiful. Your boycotts and your hate campaign against the movie on all the websites. It really it didn't do a fucking thing. So I hope a lot of you wasted your time and effort and maybe even some money in your hate campaigns, and I hope you realize that you did fucking nothing. And maybe you take a good long look at yourselves in the mirror and wonder, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Because obviously, what are you gonna say?
You forgot to play the Pressure Rising segment again.
Oh no! This is not.
God.
This is not Pressure Rising. This is a victory speech. Right? Victory. Right? They lost. Us fans, we won. The movie, it won.
You know what I'm looking forward to? Them losing again when Star Wars Episode 9 comes out. That's going to be another beautiful, beautiful moment for us.
Did you happen to see the possible leaked poster?
I did, but I don't buy it.
Neither do I.
Think it's real.
It looks so weird.
Did you see what C-3PO's holding?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, C-3PO and a bowcaster, Chewbacca's bowcaster, as well as that strap that goes across his chest with the ammo.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking poster, but I think it's a fan poster.
Yeah. If it's a fan poster, it's very well done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so Trolls, good job. Better luck next time. Or, you know, just maybe try staying under your bridge and eating your Hot Pockets. Because I don't think next time's going to go any better for you, buddy. Where am I here? Oh, Shang-Chi, the master of Kung Fu, Marvel's first Asian-led superhero movie, found its director. You know, it's really weird because we've been hearing rumblings about this movie here and rumblings about this movie there, and it's just like, well, it'd be cool if it happened. I just don't see it happening. Well, no, it's fucking happening. And Destin Daniel Cretton will be directing. Now, I'm not familiar with his work. Are you? I'm actually just looking it up.
Yeah, no, he seems to be relatively new to the scene. He definitely has a few credits under his belt, but it's just Marvel's sticking with what they know. You know, get some not first time directors, but you know, relatively new, fresh blood to come out the gate and tackle a major motion picture, and it's worked for him or for them time and time again. So like I see no fault in this whole process. You know, I think it's really smart. And one thing I really like is that they got an Asian American to direct this film.
Yeah,
like it is very fitting for what's going on. It isn't a situation where like a male is taking on an all female led team. Like what was that, Hit Girl, I think. But in any case, you know, it is representation within you know, a forgot the word, very distinct studio, you know, like a studio that's willing to give the rights and give the reins, that's the word I'm looking for, give the reins to somebody who lived it and understands it and has a good perspective on telling that story.
Yeah, no, definitely going to be pretty cool. Now, I am familiar with the character of Shang-Chi. I never really got the comics. I always leaned more towards Iron Fist. But I think I'll try to get like a back catalog of some of the better Shang-Chi stuff and take a look at them. I've never heard bad things about the older comics, and the character's always been pretty interesting to me. So
one thing that's kind of crazy to me, and I don't mean to drag this on too long, but where are all the people that were angry that Iron Fist wasn't Asian? Why are they not talking and throwing parties and excitement over Shang-Chi, who is arguably he may not be as much recognized as Iron Fist, but he is arguably the better suited person to take on that kind of demographic within the comic world. Why are they not cheering and excitement and going crazy over it? I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I don't know. The fact that they were sitting there screaming, this, Iron Fist wasn't Asian in the comics, but let's make him Asian in the show. It's like, what? Come on, man.
mean, I like the idea of possibly doing it. Like they've changed races, they've changed sexes for different characters. I was cool with it, but I wasn't angry about it. And now that Shang-Chi's, happening, here it is, fucking scream it from the top of a mountain, because what you wanted out of Iron Fist, you're going to get on the big screen in a big bad way.
Yeah, like if they had made Iron Fist Asian, I wouldn't have been mad about it, but they kept true to the comic lore and they made him white, and it's just like, oh no, they followed the comics. How dare they? But we've gotten into that fucking nonsense before on the show. We don't need to get into it now.
Agreed. I'm just saying, I'm fucking pumped for Shang-Chi. I'm really excited that this is happening.
So moving on, we get to take another victory lap. Another victory lap. 2 victory laps tonight, guys. That feels good. And this one was a long time coming. Something I was very passionate about. Something that I knew was going to eventually happen. I had said it on the show a couple of times. I figured that Marvel and Disney were biding their time and just waiting for the right moment. And it finally happened. And James Gunn is returning in full capacity for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. All is right with the world.
Thank God. It is... That was a rather depressing few months, of him not being at the helm of that film, and I'm just so glad that it's come for full circle, and like you said, all is right in the world.
Yeah, I when you read articles and little snippets and like sound bites from some of the big wigs from within Marvel, they never spoke ill about James, and they really played it very coy, and they chose their words very carefully, and I picked up on that very often. And I knew it's just like with the fans revolting and the way they're talking about this, I'm like, it's just a matter of time. We got to be patient. Like, I was still really mad to the point where I was ready to boycott Marvel, and it affected me pretty bad. But I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's just give it time. The movie is so far off. There's so many other things going on right now. Let's just give this time. I understand what they did and why they did it. And, again, if they handle it the right way, it's not that big a deal. And fuck me running. They handled it the right way. They separated themselves for a while. I'm almost 100% positive that, before they announced that they were firing James Gunn, I bet you, Kevin Feige and maybe a couple of the bigwigs, they all met up and said, listen, for right now, we got to take you off the project. But we have every intention on bringing you back. We want this nonsense to die down. And then when the time is right, we will announce that you are returning. You are free to go and do what you have to do. Take on any other projects you feel you want to take on. We won't stand in your way. But, this is just something we have to do for obvious reasons. And I can't prove that this particular conversation happened, but I just feel it feel it like in my heart, feel it in the pit of my stomach. And, you know, because even when he was fired, he didn't say anything negative. He had nothing but positive things to say, and he seemed super happy and positive. I just feel like that he knew that he was going to be back soon. And, you know, here we are. A month before Endgame comes out, now he can sit here and he can promote Endgame again, and he can... It's just everything coming full circle, man. The Fallen... The Fallen was avenged.
all right, I can appreciate that. I'm going to deviate slightly. Have you seen some of those fan posters that have been going around? The Endgame poster campaign has launched some really amusing fan posters, so you got to go take a look at.
I was actually going to make one.
Nice.
I just don't have Photoshop, but I was going to make one, and I was going to have like the the DC Universe logo in the back with Avenge the Fallen in front.
Oh god, that's messed up. But I like it. I definitely like it. I was actually gonna say that I had that same sort of theory. I was wondering if he maybe didn't get fired at all, but like when you bring up the fact that they may have said, hey, you're you're able to take on whatever you want to take on by all means. That theory seems to have a little bit more ground than him just not being fired at all. But the intention of bringing him back, especially with how everybody rallied around him, it seems like it's extremely possible. And the important thing here is that he's back. It's great. Have you heard the casting rumors though for Adam Warlock?
No.
That they're looking at Zac Efron as a possible candidate to play to go and play Adam Warlock. Him and I think Lucas Till, who I forget what movie he's in, but those are possible candidates. They're already looking at people that are going to possibly fill that role.
Okay. Hopefully, I wouldn't be opposed to any of them, but it's not who I would want. There is an actor. I don't know if he's really been doing anything lately. But there's an actor I've been a big fan of for quite a while. Oh yeah, he's still acting quite regularly. And his name is Dustin Clare, and he happened to play like one of my favorite characters in the Spartacus series. And his look in that show. Every time I saw him, I'm like, oh fuck, this guy looks like Adam Warlock. I mean, he had like the perfect colored hair, and it was long, and just like his body shape. Like I'm looking at him, I'm like, this guy's Adam Warlock. Like, I wonder how I can make this shit happen. So
the minute you said that, I knew you were gonna say somebody from Spartacus.
I love fan casting people from Spartacus because you don't see too many of them anymore. It's sad. I feel like aside from Manu Benoit, was that his name? Manu Bennett.
Bennett, yeah. Oh, my boy, Deathstroke.
And Peter Mensah you still see occasionally, but everybody else, not so much. And I don't know. I just thought he was so great in that show, and I would love to see him in a Marvel movie. But obviously, I'm not a casting director, so I can't make that call. But in a perfect world,
I can appreciate Efron because he's kind of on the up. Like he started off as like this teenager, pretty boy sort of actor. And then he just came out of nowhere showing that he has some acting chops. And I guess when you're typecast, as something some producer sees in you, that's going to be the situation. But he is really impressing me as of late, and he's starting to become a household name. So I could definitely see him being cast as Adam Warlock. And I don't know. I think he might be able to pull it off. But I'm willing to see anybody in the role at this point because it's going to be exciting to to see him come into the universe.
Yeah, and I hope we do get some other characters. I'm really looking forward to, especially from like the 2013 DNA Guardians of the Galaxy run. Philavel, and I would love to see Moondragon. I want to see Bug. I love the character of Bug, but I heard that there's some type of rights issue with the character, but that might be a non-issue now since the Disney Fox acquisition is done. And Jack Flag. I mean, Jack Flag is one of my favorite characters from Guardians of the Galaxy. If you don't know who the character is, I'd say go look him up. Go pick up some comics where he's featured. He's fantastic, and he hates cosmic shit. So.
I was gonna say for a second there that was the smoothest transition I've ever seen, but then you went back to Guardians.
Yeah, but now we'll go back to the Fox and Disney acquisition. It's finally done. Done deal. The ink is now dry, and we can now welcome home the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, all of which I don't give two fucks about, because the real man is home. Finally, the Silver Surfer has returned. Now they just need to do something with him, like tomorrow.
Or in April, post-credit scene, introduce Galactus. Boom.
Yeah, I don't care. Something. I need something, and I need it now. My last fix of fucking Silver Surfer was that god-awful Fantastic Four movie, which I do give props because I really loved how the Surfer was portrayed. I loved that, what the fuck?
Doug Jones, right?
Well, Doug Jones played him, but Lawrence Fishburne voiced him.
That's a great combination. That's something that they should totally bring back. Regardless.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, that's, you know what? I'll give two people that they should bring back. That combination, three people rather. That combination and fucking what's his name? J. Jonah Jameson guy. Help me out here.
I don't want to look it up because I know his name. I'm a big fan of him.
So do I. Shit.
Oh my God.
I'm glad I'm not the only one drawing a blank here. See, kids, this is what happens when you get old.
Oh my God, what is his name? Because I'm a big fan. I loved his character in Oz, and he was in the Lady Killers. He was Commissioner Gordon too.
Yep.
I can't believe I can't think of his name.
Yeah, like I always have brain farts like that, but I expected better of you.
Yeah, no, it's like on the tip of my tongue too. Oh God. Anyone in chat? So I'm gonna look this shit up. Chris, I see you there.
Save us.
Fuck. Now we are not continuing the show until I can figure this out, and I don't want to look it up. What the fuck is his name?
Terrible time for my browser to go. Be a little bitch. J.K. fucking Simmons.
That's okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he absolutely has to come back. That's the final point that I wanted to make on that.
Well, he says he wants to come back. So and Marvel seems to listen, especially when they're characters that fans like. Obviously everybody likes Wesley Snipes as Blade, and now there's talks of Wesley Snipes returning as Blade. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It'd just be interesting to see how he transitions to a different universe and a different Spider-Man. But I'm sure
the writing could be really fun because they could probably like have him say certain lines from the original and like stop for a second and kind of like, wait, did I just say that? Like, I think they could have a lot of fun with it. And recently he was on a podcast and he did some sort of like voiceover as J. Jonah Jameson. And my God, does he still have it? He switches on that character like the best. And like how certain people, like a lot of time goes by and it almost sounds like they're imitating the character, that they once played 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He is J. Jonah Jameson. No question about it.
Yeah, I love that. I love when people can still, sometimes people surprise you. I mean, just real quick, 100% completely off topic. I was watching the Joe Rogan Experience, an episode from last year where he had Jake the Snake Roberts on. It's actually a really cool episode. And I don't know where this came from, but fucking Jake does the best Macho Man Randy Savage impression I've ever heard.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, completely off topic, but wrestling is kind of big in the air with us right now, and I was just watching that the other night, and I'm like, holy fuck, he's spot on with his Macho Man's, impression. And actually it kind of fits in, Macho Man was in the very first Spider-Man movie, so.
Oh yeah, you tied it back. That's all that matters.
I brought it back around, motherfuckers. I brought it back around.
Love it.
So yeah, X-Men back, Fantastic Four back, but again, most importantly, my favorite character, Silver Surfer, is returning. Hopefully we see something, man. It's
Yeah, I'm really hopeful, and we're never gonna get off this topic apparently, but I want to say one last thing. It seems like Deadpool is the only person that is surviving the transition into the MCU. It doesn't look like they're keeping anybody in the X-Men universe, and Deadpool's the only one that's going to be going forward. Maybe if Hugh Jackman says he wants to come back, I'm sure they could make a little bit of adjustment, but all the same, Ryan Reynolds is safe. he survived the snap.
Yeah, well, if he did not survive the snap, I think Disneyland would be burning down right now.
Yeah, and then Ryan Reynolds will be walking out of with the gas cans, empty gas cans.
So, yeah. All right, so just to go ahead and wrap it up with our main discussion tonight. So we kind of got a new Avengers Endgame trailer dropped on us out of nowhere. Was it about a week ago?
Yeah, which is fitting because it comes out, next month?
Yeah, we are officially now under a month away.
That is so crazy. It felt like it was so much further away than it actually.
Well, you know what helped? The fact that, Infinity War still feels new and fresh. Because it only came out a year ago. We didn't have to wait 2-3 years before we got this movie. So it's, it really made it, we got, hang on. So we got Infinity War, and technically we're going to be getting Endgame all before we got the last season of fucking Game of Thrones. Think about that.
Yeah, that's wild. That's insane.
We got 2 Avengers movies before the last season of Game of Thrones comes out. Well, actually, that and Endgame come out around the same time next month. But still, my point is still 100% fucking valid.
I'll allow it.
So we got the runtime. We're looking at 3 hours. Fuck me running. That is long. I also found out another cool little nugget of info that's going to be pertinent to you and me as we go on the Thursday to see it. We are going to need to get tickets immediately, which I believe go on sale beginning of next week.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to get tickets, and they are doing super early showings of 6 o'clock because the movie is 3 hours long. So we can get a 6 o'clock showing.
God, remember when we used to go to the midnight showings and be excited about that? Now our old asses are like, come on, 5 o'clock. Come on, 5 o'clock.
Come on, matinee.
Oh my God, the earlier the better.
We don't go up and ask for popcorn. We go up and ask for fucking Metamucil and Kasha.
Oh my God. No, it's really true. We are very old, and we can't be pulling those midnight showings anymore.
You know what? It's not even a matter of that. I mean, if I had to go to the midnight showings, I would. It's not a big deal. The fact is that they started doing earlier showings. I'm just like, well, I'm an adult now, and I have to get up at 5:30 for fucking work. So if I don't have to act like a goddamn teenager and go to a midnight showing, well, motherfucker, I'm not going to. So you want to keep making these movies come out earlier and earlier? Fucking man, I'm going to keep going to the earlier show. It just means we'll be able to get home earlier and, jump on and give our live reactions.
That is very true. And our teenage selves are basically they're having their own pressurizing segment right now about how sleep is for pussies and all that good stuff. So, but no, I completely agree. I'd much rather be home, kind of just settling out in for the night and kind of letting the entire story that I just witnessed really sink in. It's so much better than like trying to keep your eyes open at 2:00 in the morning, on the way home driving. And it just, it was fun at the time, and now I'd much rather the 5:00 showing.
Yeah, if I had to go to a midnight showing, I would. It wouldn't be that big a deal. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it's no longer the only option.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm going to jump off of that real quick. I know we mentioned the runtime. Another thing I'm angry about, why is everybody crying about a bathroom break in a 3-hour movie? Like, if you've ever seen a Quentin Tarantino movie, they're 3.5 hours long. Like, what's the problem here? Why are we all talking about our sensitive bladders when it comes to a 3-hour movie? Like, use the bathroom before you go. You're good to go for 3 hours.
No, I'm not. I got a little teeny tiny baby bladder.
Well, maybe if you didn't buy a large drink, or in the case of Captain Marvel, two drinks. My buddy bought 3 somehow. That guy pulled a Virgil on everybody.
Oh my God, he did that.
He's like, you want a drink? Here, have 2 drinks, and for, you need the Captain Marvel cup, so here's 3 drinks.
That motherfucker, man. I actually use that cup every day, but
I went to see Captain Marvel a second time the week after, and sadly, they were sold out. So I have to lean on my cousin down in corporate to see if he could send me one.
But yeah, so we'll have
trailer.
to
We're gonna talk about the trailer.
I know. So the trailer pretty much did not show anything aside from a great little clip between Thor and Captain Marvel. But in terms of giving away anything in the movie, it gives away nothing. It is so bare bones, this trailer, and finally, I wanted something that just gets me hyped up but doesn't show me anything, and they nailed it. It was perfect. We got that little nod at the end with Thor and Captain Marvel. Spoiler alert, he likes her. So,
oh God, he's great.
So I think they really knocked this one perfectly. It was just knocked out of the park. They did it perfect. Speaking of Thor, sort of bringing up Taika Waititi, What We Do in the Shadows airs tomorrow.
Tonight, I think.
Oh, is it tonight? I thought it was tomorrow.
Tonight, yeah.
God damn it! You see what I fucking sacrificed for you people? Fuck.
Don't worry. We'll be able to see it without a doubt. They're probably gonna replay it a bunch. But regarding the trailer, I love how little we're being shown, and I love that the directors are kind of hearkening back to their own personal experiences of seeing Empire Strikes Back for the first time. Basically, on Twitter, they're like, I remember the days of going into Empire Strikes Back without a single trailer, just the excitement from the previous movie, and the discovery and experiencing everything as a filmmaker intended without kind of having everything shown to you already is the ultimate movie experience. And more often than not, I can't really fight the urge to watch everything. And there's been movies that I've watched, like how they release those clips, like Yahoo movies or whatever will put like 7 clips up before the movie. Like, I've made that mistake too many times of watching every little thing, and all that's left when you're sitting in the theater is the connective tissue of, tying all those scenes we already have seen together, and that sucks. So see them approach the marketing from a standpoint of just kind of wetting your whistle and really giving you a little bit of a tease. I mean, that's the ultimate way to market a film, especially these Marvel movies, because they already have an audience built in, and for Endgame, they could probably just not market it at all, and it's still probably break records. So it's awesome that they're doing it this way. And, the trailer feels like it's something, even though you don't really see much of anything. By the end of it, you're still getting those chills that when that music kind of crescendos at the very end, and then you see that moment between Thor and Captain Marvel, and you're just like, God, I need this movie right this second. It's just so effective. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, there's still weight. There's weight there. That's the best way I can explain it.
Absolutely agree.
More trailers for bigger event type movies have to be done this way. At the end of the day, a movie like Batman vs Superman, that was an event movie, and a lot of the trailers showed quite a bit. Same with Justice League. Technically, that really was an event movie. But you know what?
I'll jump on real quick and say the same as Shazam. I caught an early preview screening this past weekend, which I'm going to talk about next week. And there's a lot in that film that you don't see in the trailers, but there is a lot that you see in the trailers. So, while I was watching it, I was just like, oh man, and they could have toned down that trailer a little bit, so we didn't get every joke or things like that. So it's some companies do it better than the others, and then there's companies like Marvel that are just like, show them nothing.
Well, they finally learned that. I mean, let's be honest here. We can't we can't give them all the credit because
good point. Spider-Man Homecoming, that showed you quite a bit.
So did the first Avengers movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
It took them fucking 10 years, but they finally realized, like, all right, this movie is a massive event. We need to do the trailer right, and they did. Good job. Pat yourselves on the back. Keep doing that for future movies, please. Like, I don't mind a trailer showing you just a teeny tiny bit, but let's cool it on the fucking spoilers and big scene reveals and stuff.
I agree.
But we are less than a month away. Very exciting. This movie is just going to be massive. Best part is, thankfully, it comes out before my child is born. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to, get to the theater and spend, like 4 or 5 hours out. I don't have to, worry about my wife being home with the baby. So the baby will be here very, very soon. Just not that soon. Yeah, so I don't know what to say, man. It's very exciting, and I get to enjoy it just a lot more now, knowing that James Gunn is back in the family. That's gonna make me enjoy the movie. It's gonna make me enjoy the movie a lot more. Especially every time I see Rocket on screen. The fact that Rocket is like, I guess Nebula too, but Rocket is like the one surviving Guardian. And obviously is like my favorite Guardian. So I'm actually hoping to see that he gets a lot of screen time. That's actually going to be kind of cool. He might get, especially in a 3-hour movie, and him being one of the, characters left alive and part of the team now, he might get quite a bit of screen time. I haven't really thought about it.
Just seeing Rocket on War Machine's shoulder, that did it for me.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think I tweeted after the trailer came out, and there were just pictures of that. I think I tweeted out something like, Rocket riding War Machine is my spirit animal for the week.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's extremely true. That was just such an epic moment in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, hope you guys watching and listening are as excited for this movie as we are. It's... I know that this show is mainly supposed to be horror, because it bounces off deadentertainment.com, and, that's all horror, but, we live in a world where if you're a geek and you're into geek culture, it's just hard not being super fanboyish and getting crazy hyped and really excited about these kind of movies. I grew up, and I had horror surrounding me my entire life. I could go back to the 70s and 80s. Go back even further. I go back to the Universal times, 20s, 30s, 40s, Universal monsters. I could get horror from any generation. All right? It was readily available from any decade I wanted. That's not the case with these with these comic book movies and these geek movies. Yeah, sure, there were a couple. I could go back and I could get, Legend, Labyrinth, or Willow was one of my favorites, and then obviously it started to grow, the Star Wars movies, like comic book movies, but they're still they're that geek culture. Then we started getting the Lord of the Rings movies, and then finally we started getting Spider-Man, X-Men, all these other comic book movies. But when I was a kid, when I was 10 years old, those comic book movies didn't exist. What did I have? I had fucking Dolph Lundgren fucking Punisher. No. No, that is unacceptable in my book. So we get overly excited for these comic book movies when compared to the horror stuff lately because, again, we've had the horror our whole lives. As adults, the last 15 years now, this comic book stuff is still new to us. It's still fresh. It's still like we can't believe we're finally at this point in our lives and we're seeing this on screen. I've been seeing horror movies on screen since I was a kid. Been watching them on TV, renting them at video stores. Never an option for comic book movies. Now it is. So if it looks like we're getting crazy excited for these movies, that's the reason why. Especially when compared to the horror movies. We talk about the horror movies and we do get excited for them, but sometimes our excitement doesn't show in the same way as it does for the comic book movies, and that's the reason why. Because we've never had them before, and now we do. So it's still fresh to us.
Yeah, I could definitely echo the same sort of thing, and I think horror and comic books, they all kind of go hand in hand because it's this kind of like it's this act of letting your imagination go, just letting it go to the darkest corners or the lightest corners or the most hopeful corners. Like you got all of those elements while reading a comic book, and in the same sort of way, you got those elements reading or watching a horror movie, and then wondering what that horror movie might look like if that continued. We didn't have the luxury of seeing these comic book movies come up onto the big screens, aside from what the examples you gave. So we had to keep buying issues on weekly basis or create our own sort of ideas of what these things might look like if they were given a budget, if they were giving a good writer, as good of a writer as the comic books we were reading. And now we've reached a point where they finally are. And horror it has the same sort of relevancy and same sort of effect on us, but it's just like Bates said, it's always been there. And nowadays it's it goes through its highs, lows, the lulls, and frankly the genres, the subgenres that we're not necessarily into, or maybe we are, but it's just the experience is there, the love is all there, and the passion's there for all of these mediums. And like, regardless of the association to Dead Entertainment or not, this is our lifeblood. This is the shit that keeps us going, keeps us from having horrible days at work, or just dealing with the stresses of life, and unexpected things that happen and get thrown at you. So we're going to remain passionate about everything we cover here, regardless. And it's awesome that we're still living in a time where we could be this excited over horror movies and overly excited about comic book movies that we could have dreamed of off of the comic book pages.
Yeah. So that was just sort of an impromptu thing, because I realized just like how excited and how like crazy we get when we're talking about these comic book movies, and just kind of wanted to give an insight into why we get a little bit more excited over this stuff than some of the horror stuff lately. Again, it doesn't take anything away from the horror stuff. We still love that. We still get excited about it. It's just that we've had it our whole lives. This is still new to us. And when you grow up reading these characters and maybe seeing them in animated TV shows on Fox on Saturday morning when you're a kid, that's good and all, but you go into that movie theater and you see them on the big screen in live action with actors who fall into the parts, and become the parts and become the characters. Well, it takes on a whole new life. And it's part of our way of life here. So hopefully, the people who come here to listen to us talk horror, maybe they feel the same way, maybe they don't, but at least you got a bit of a insight into why we cover this stuff as well here. But we are approaching 2 hours, and allergies are starting to kick my ass a little bit here, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this puppy up. This was a great return episode. We hit some cool notes. We discussed some great things. Got a little angry. Took some victory laps. All around fun fucking episode tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all for hanging out, watching, and listening. Make sure if you haven't already, smash that like button. We like it when you people, push our buttons. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button as well. That's another good button to press. Just press them all. And share it out to your friends, man. Help us grow some more. We got this show most weeks, and we put up content where we can. Hopefully, if I go to NJ HorrorCon this weekend, I'll have some content for there to get up on the site for you guys, some panels or something. And definitely check out deadentertainment.com if you haven't. All your horror news and stuff. I am currently working on. I haven't written a editorial in quite a while. I'm working on a very special one. It's going to take a lot. It's taking me a lot of time because I'm being very diligent about it, and I'm doing a lot of research on it. But if it comes out as well as I think it might, it's going to be probably my best piece to date, and one of the more important pieces I've written, I think. So I'm working on that. Keep an eye out on that. And news, watch my Twitter, Bates_MotelMT. I usually give updates every once in a while as I hit milestones as I'm writing it. Make sure you follow Mungus over there, at Ray Mungus, and make sure you follow Dead Entertainment, at Dead Ent Site. You can also check us out over on Facebook, facebook.com/Dead Entertainment. And yeah, so keep an eye on my YouTube channel as well. If I do go this weekend, I will probably be live streaming from the show floor, like I did for the one Monster Mania I was at. So definitely keep an eye on that. That should be pretty cool. I had a fun time live streaming at Monster Mania, and this one I feel like I'll have just as much fun. You got anything to add over there, buddy?
No, I think I'm good for the week.
Well, all right. So thank you guys one more time. We'll probably be seeing everybody next week. We'll be doing a convention recap next weekend. And
maybe a little wrestling talk. Maybe.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Maybe a little wrestling talk. We typically don't dive into wrestling, but WrestleMania around the corner, and we're both going. And with the nonsense that fucking WWE pulled last night on me, I'm angry about it. I didn't want to get into it tonight.
No, we're going to have a pressure rising next week. Don't worry.
Maybe they fixed what they screwed up because fans are mad, but Vince McMahon is a big fucking walking twat.
Breathe, Bates, breathe.
So I don't see that happening. But put it this way, the shit that happened last night on SmackDown got me angry enough to the point where if I wasn't going with my buddy to WrestleMania, my ticket would be for sale right now. Like, that's how mad it made me. So we'll get into that maybe next week as we get ready to head to WrestleMania, and we'll do a convention recap and maybe cover a few other things. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Much appreciated. And remember,
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.